It may have been the greatest scam for a sports fan, posing as a Sports Illustrated kids reporter with your dad and getting into all of the games, not to mention the locker rooms.
In the 90s, my dad and I ran a con for years where we snuck into the world's most prestigious arena, New York's Madison Square Garden. And I interviewed some of the biggest athletes in the world, even Michael Jordan. Everything my dad did was rooted in lying.
Gary, how did you feel when you saw the federal agents coming in to raid your home?
The podcast is finished, right?
The podcast is finished. It's ready to come out June 10th. It's going to be loaded. Like, it's going to come out like each week. There's going to be a new episode. First week on June 10th comes out episode 1 and 2, and then
are you happy? Are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm
Dude,
happy.
It's nuts.
But yeah,
did you interview him?
Well, so I can't say if I met my dad for because it's a search and find out. I'm trying to learn more. Basically, the whole podcast is I'm trying to learn more about my dad. We share this great, incredible, moment where. I impersonated a Sports Illustrated for Kids reporter, and he impersonated a photographer, and we went to games from 1993 to 1997 without tickets, and I would go into locker rooms and I interview a whole bunch of different players.
But you met the 94 NHL Stanley Cup winning Rangers.
Yep.
You were at Game 7 against the Canucks.
Yeah, I was at Game 1, Game 5, and Game 7. Went to the team after party.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was in the locker room after the game, went to the team after party, and then after that, a few days later, they celebrated at Gracie Mansion, and then my dad gets past, Giuliani was the mayor at the time, we get past his security detail, and then we just go into the mayor's mansion, and I'm there, I'm like having basically, non-alcoholic beverages at the time. I'm 10 11
having
years
sodas.
Old. Yeah. And then my
You're
dad,
like Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
just drinking a bunch of Dr. Pepper.
Exactly. I just happen to be in like this great iconic like moment of New York sports being at that Ranger game. But yeah, I'm taking pictures with the Stanley Cup. The mayor's there. All the Rangers are there. It's like a nice big barbecue going on.
Who was the 93 to 97? Who is the athlete that you met that was like the moment?
I mean, number one is Jordan. I was at the double nickel game. The double nickel game is like, I mean, that's hands down the most pressure I had in this con that my dad basically drew up was that us going to the Jordan game was like, because everybody was going to be at that game. Every single, press around, they were going to be at this game, and the actual real Sports Illustrated for Kids was at this game.
So you're impersonating Sports Illustrated for Kids.
Yeah. And
the actual Sports Illustrated for Kids, did you have to like beat them up and take their costume like in a movie?
No.
Or they come out and they're like...
My dad made it a point where we would went up to them and I don't know what he said to them, but I don't think he said that we're Sports Illustrated for Kids also. He just like got their information and got their business cards and when he found that out. And then when the game ended, he just made it a bum rush for us to get to the security guard so we could get in the locker room. And they wound up just waiting to get in. We got in before them. I don't know if they ever got in because when we came out, they were still trying to get in. It was crazy.
So, in case you didn't catch it, if you're not following along, Gary's dad is a con man, and that was one of his cons was involving you.
Yeah.
To go to all these high-profile athletic events and meet these high-profile athletes.
Yeah, this one was the nice con.
This was a fun one. This is the kids movie.
Exactly.
Where at the end he changes his ways and becomes a regular dad, but he uses his con skills to like be successful.
Totally.
They always make sure that they're financially all right because he's like still. But your dad was like a con man, like in every sense.
Everything that he would do. I mean, it was on a smaller sense, it would be like, oh, if he got into like a little bit of a fender bender. Now he's going after an insurance scam. But then in every business that he would have, he would also make it a point to not deliver whatever he said he was going to deliver on. He's going to charge people without giving them their furniture, which is like, I brought some like, I have a newspaper article and I have some like other stuff that I haven't shared on the podcast that I could share with you guys too. But it was when he did a thing where I had to do a bunch of research just for the podcast.
Now you're discovering all this stuff while you're doing this podcast.
Exactly.
Which is going to come out, as he said, June 11th?
June 10th.
June 10th is episode 1 and 2, and then every week there'll be a new episode.
Yep.
It's serialized. Is it on every place you can get podcasts?
Yeah, everywhere you can get podcasts. So just search Number One Dad.
Are you number one dad is the best thing. Was there
Tim likes that.
I love it. Are you in therapy the whole time you're doing this?
Yeah, so throughout it I was. And of course, like even leading up, like before, you know, I decided I was going to do this podcast, I mean, he was a majority of the reason why I was in therapy. I mean, you have to get over a lot of stuff that you did. Like, you know, your father's supposed to be this great role model. And, you know, we did share this incredible moment, but everything aside from this Sports Illustrated con, which was so fun and memorable, there was so much like destruction. Yeah.
There's a lot of shit on
in my family. Yeah.
Are you, now here's just a question as someone that also had a shitty dad.
Totally.
I sometimes would project this like fantasy image on him. I call it the John McClane.
Right.
Where you're like, hope your dad is a detective in another city.
Yeah.
And he's solving big cases. And that's why he's not around. It's not that he just doesn't care.
Right.
Because then you grow up and you go through enough therapy where you go, oh, he just didn't care.
Yeah.
Was there, you have this moment with Sports Illustrated for Kids. Did that produce enough of a fantasy image that you liked your father?
You know, the unfortunate thing about it was while we were going through it, he would say that I couldn't share that with other people because what we were doing was obviously, you know, nobody would understand it. Like, especially a kid. If I was like, hey, I just was at the Ranger game last night where they won the Stanley Cup. And I was like, we snuck in, you know, we did it by doing this thing. And my dad wouldn't want us to convey that to anybody or them to share it with like their family. So eventually I like got so fed up with this that I couldn't share this incredible moment with my friends or anything, that I was like, can I just like, how could I tell them? And he goes, just say that I know somebody at the Garden, because he had these pictures to back it up.
So you couldn't, he didn't want you sharing any of it. You
Correct.
couldn't even like, as a little kid, you know how hard that is to go to school the next day and go like, I was at game 7.
Right.
Like you couldn't even say that.
I met Jordan. I was at game 7.
So
I met
you couldn't
John
do any
Elway.
of that?
Yeah, none of that. Yeah, none
You had
of
to
that.
keep it that tight under wraps.
Yeah, until I became like by the time I was like 14, which is basically like the last year that we were running it. I mean, I was getting a little old at that point.
No, but we're the same age.
Yeah.
So that's I remember.
So that's like 1997. It was 93 to 97. So 97, like my freshman year of high school. Like I'm a small guy, so I was small then too.
Yeah.
And then I was still able to pull it off, but I was kind of fed up with it. And I was at that moment, I was like, you know, these are things that I do want to share, that I was able to meet these people.
At that point, you're like, come on, damn, I'm trying to get some pussy off
I know,
this.
yeah.
I'm trying to finger some girls. Let me tell them I met Jordan.
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy that you weren't allowed to do that.
And keeping stuff in is tough, because all it does is teach you to like, essentially, I mean, I was lying to my friends that something took place in my life.
Did you tell your sisters?
They knew, yeah. They knew. My mom knew. My mom wasn't like thrilled with me going through this.
Were your parents
dad.
together while this was happening?
They were together, but they were constantly, there was always something, because my dad was involved in some sort of scam while this was going on in his business life. So there was tons of lawsuits going on, whether he was being sued or he was suing somebody.
Did your mom know he was a scam artist?
Yeah, but you know, I think it's like she didn't know how deep she was in it until you know, you already pop out a couple kids, and now it's like, how do you get out of this?
Oh my God. It's like being married to a mobster.
For sure.
Where she was like, oh,
there's no turning back. This is your life.
Like, I'm sure part of being a con man has to be that you're charming, because you're getting people to believe you. You can't be a dickhead and con people.
Yeah.
If you're a con and you're a dickhead, the degree of difficulty is like 12 out of 10.
No, totally. Yeah. People will just turn away from you. But I think on top of being charming, you also have this ability to not care about consequence.
Sociopath.
So, yeah. So he would, you know, I think you get to a certain age, like, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I'll do this and then we'll see what the repercussions are. But the way my father, at least from what I witnessed, would operate was that he wouldn't care what the outcome was. It's worst case scenario, he gets turned down, but he most likely is not going to get, you know, found out. Like nobody was going to not believe that we work for Sports Illustrated for Kids. One, it's the 90s. They're not looking this up on the internet.
Yeah.
And so he kind of went with this notion, and this really stayed true. And, you know, people say that, you know, now because you could like search so much more on, you know, online and figure things out, that people will be able to figure out a con man. And for sure, it's definitely harder now. But my dad just had a way of talking to people and being able to get around these, you know, these barriers where somebody would actually think that they were even being conned.
Did you ever see him get denied when you guys were trying to go somewhere?
No, it's crazy that
Like he was that good at talking.
Yeah, he was able to figure out, he just knew what to say, and then he wasn't ever frazzled. He wasn't nervous, like, oh, us going to the Jordan game, that's bigger than most games that we've been to, and he knew how much that meant to me, but it was just like anything else. He just felt like that's what he was built for.
Yeah.
You know, that's his comedy.
Yeah. Did you request that? Were there like sports events that you requested? Were you like,
yeah,
Dad, Jordan's coming back to play the Knicks after being retired? For those of you that don't follow sports, Michael Jordan retired after the 93 season, played baseball, was off 94 and 95, Houston Rockets, you're welcome for the titles, and then came back in 96 and wearing 45.
Yep.
But he came back and played the Knicks, which he was their boogeyman.
Yeah. And
then he dropped 55 on him, and you were at that game. Was he wearing 45 when he dropped?
Yeah, he was wearing 45. Yeah. So, and he dropped 55, and this was his I'm back game. This was everything.
But so you didn't request that. Your dad was like,
no, I did. I requested. That was like there are games that I requested where there's big moments that were happening that I was so into sports that I was like, all right. You know, I knew Jordan was coming back. I said to my dad, can we go to this game? And he was like, I'll see what I could do. And this is like day of. And
oh, it was day of you put in the
day
request.
Of. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He could just do that.
And he'd be like, I got a poker game I can blow off.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go see Jordan play at the Garden.
Right.
Did he know people, because you do the 94 Stanley Cup, before you do all this stuff, did he know people at the Garden?
Yeah, we became a familiar face. So that also played into our favor of getting into these games, especially, day of. And
man, walking and pointing at someone and knowing their name is an immediate, where he's like, hey, Frank. And he's like, there they are.
Right.
Hey, Gary, don't stay up too late riding your byline. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a fake name?
I had my name, and my dad would go as, he would use an alias, and he wouldn't even go as my father. That was super frustrating, and
Did
that
he
was
look like you?
Yeah, he looked like me. Like that's what's crazy.
That's just weird to go like, nah, it's just I'm just, because honestly now, with the amount of awareness of pedophilia,
oh totally,
just
you'd be like, that guy's raping that kid, 100%.
That boy's being fucked.
yeah,
that's that feeling.
But he is getting to meet cool athletes.
Yeah,
so
he goes, shaking Jordan's hand, and then goes to the van and takes it.
Yeah,
but that is crazy that like he wouldn't even do. Because I think it would make sense even in a lie for him to go, yeah, it's my kid.
That's what I always thought too.
Were you mad about that?
Yeah, I would go. I remember after a while, I was like, hey, can we just say that you're my dad? And then, but I guess it's just like at this point, we're going to the Garden so often that you didn't want, to change things up.
Yeah, don't switch to play if
yeah.
If
so
it ain't broke.
I think my dad even told me, he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then, he just would never do it.
So funny. Just
because nobody's asking me questions. They're just asking him questions.
You want your father's love so bad that even in a con, you go like, hey, can you be proud of me and be my dad in this? And he goes,
sure.
I don't think I can.
Yeah.
He goes, here's the deal. You wanted me to Olajuwon? I don't think I can be your dad.
You got to play by my rules.
Yeah,
man.
dude, that's so fucking wild.
Yeah.
And that's got to create so much shit of like anger, like frustration, where you're like, sure, you're getting something cool out of it, but at the same time, you're like, let me be your son.
Yeah. There are things that you just, I didn't understand that he did. And obviously, that's one of them, but you kind of just roll with the punches when you're doing that, and you go with it because it was successful, and it's your dad. So you're like, you are doing something with your dad. And I'm getting time with my dad, and I'm getting to do something really cool that nobody else gets to do.
Did he ever have to like pump you up in the car? Was he like, all right, Gary,
there's
here
coaching.
Comes the Garden Shuffle? There was coaching?
Yeah, there's coaching of like, these are the questions that you should ask. And there are questions that were coming right out of the magazine that their reporters would ask. They're by the way, what's interesting is that Sports Illustrated for Kids back then, they didn't have a kids reporter. So nobody even knew that.
So he kind of was inventive.
Yeah, he figured it out.
What if they had a kid? Because, by the way, huge Sports Illustrated for Kids fan.
Yeah.
That's what got me into Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I was getting the magazines.
I loved Sports Illustrated for Kids because it was a way for kids to learn about sports. But it's crazy your dad invented
Yeah, the job. Yeah, the job.
A bureau.
And I could have
a desk at the place.
And realistically, we could have sent in work that I would, because I was doing, essentially work, just never.
You almost should get a journalism degree.
I know. I could have gotten something, but nothing.
It would have been funny if your dad made you wear one of those hats that said press in it. And that's what gave it up. And they go, no one wears those anymore.
But I did. Yeah.
Michael Jordan over here. Look at here, Jordan. 55. How's it feel?
Like the war press hat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The old school. Yeah, like a yellow helmet or whatever the helmets are that they.
But they would give me. We would, whoever you would talk to at the Garden, we would have to check in when we would arrive, and I'd wind up getting press passes. So we'd have seats at the Garden. Whether we'd have guaranteed seats up in the press office, in the press area.
Crazy.
Which is up at the top. It's like the 400 level in the Garden, and then and you're just like looking down on the rink or the court. But then my dad would be down taking, because he would be the photographer. He'd be taking pictures right on the court.
So like under the basket.
He'd be under the basket, yeah. So he's there with every other photog there, and I would be in another place in the arena. And I'm only, I'm 9 to 13 years old. I'm walking around the Garden by myself. I'm either in that press area, or he would be able to locate a seat maybe in like the end of the first quarter, and then I'd come down there.
Was he a good photographer?
I think he was pretty good, but we did have like people like look at his photos, and like they were like, no, he wasn't great. But I mean,
so on the podcast, you had people look at his photos.
I did. We actually had to cut those people.
I love that.
But they were like, his work's shitty. But I think they were also just saying it. But I think there are some solid pictures.
That's so great though. That they're like, sir, you're not even aiming the right way. He's like, sorry.
He had his lens on.
Yeah, that's so.
The cap on the lens.
That's so crazy though.
Is that right? You're the photog lens. What is it? The cap. The cap.
Yeah,
the cap
on the lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane that he would just be down there. He's just making the noise.
Yeah.
You're not even taking pictures. He's like, shut up. My kid's a reporter.
Right.
Were you in any way, once you start meeting all these, like, who was the first really famous athlete you met?
The first really famous. I mean, it was the
first heist.
Yeah, the first heist was we went to a Knicks game in like the '93 season, and then that one was like when I met all the Knicks, and so I met Patrick Ewing, and he was the biggest one, Pat Riley. So I was meeting like the entire team. Yeah, Starks was on that team.
Were you like the difference between that first game, right? 93 versus 97 when you're 14. Was it like old hat?
Yeah.
Were you like, by the time you met, you like giving them like half handshakes, like, hey, John L., you want to take a picture?
It was nothing at that point. You really, you could just, fall into the role, and you could just do, whatever. It didn't matter. Like I could after meeting Jordan's like really, I was nervous.
That was the peak.
Yeah, I was nervous meeting Jordan.
Was he cool?
He was cool. He was in a private room when I met him, and he was there with Phil Jackson and like some other assistant coaches. So like when I went in, I asked him. I could only like remember a question like out of my thing because I was so nervous. And we took a picture, and I got an autographed card from him. And
do you still have both?
The card my dad has, obviously.
He's calm, man.
So as far as I know,
dude.
Of course, yeah.
So your dad's like, and I'll take. Here's the picture.
Yeah, here's a picture.
He goes, that monetary value.
Picture's worth 1,000 words. The card's worth $1 million.
Yeah, dude, that's so crazy. That's so crazy that I mean, Jordan in '96 was the return of Superman.
Oh,
I don't care who you're a fan of. Everyone was a fan of Jordan in 96.
Yeah, the NBA took a dip when Jordan left for that retirement, that year and a half, and then he came back, and it was just like that. Every kid was so excited because we were and that like those first 3 championships, it's hard for our age to remember those.
Yeah, because we were young.
Yeah,
but like the return, I think most of us, we were 10 when he retired. Yeah, and I think all of us. I had the actual Sports Illustrated of Why Michael when he left.
Oh,
and then my mom got rid of it at a garage sale. I know she's watching this episode. Thanks, Mom. I had a lot of classic Sports Illustrateds that my mom sold at a garage sale. We had like the first Broncos Super Bowl, a bunch of that stuff. But I think we were old enough that we were like, it was everywhere. Yeah. It was one of those stories that transcended sports in the news. Everyone's like, Michael Jordan retired and he's going to play baseball.
Yep.
And then he comes back. You never see that.
Yeah. Well, the craziest thing is, and this is what I found out, and you
do see it, but it's like always shitty when it happens.
Yeah. Nobody like this.
It doesn't come back.
Nobody to this level. I'll tell you 2 things that are pretty nuts. This is how big Michael Jordan was. That when I met Shaq when this is the time when Jordan was playing baseball, and Jordan was so big that when I went and I got Shaq to sign a basketball and a card, I go to meet him in the locker room.
Orlando Magic Shaq.
Orlando Magic Shaq. Penny met Penny too. Penny was on that team. This is how big Jordan was that I remember. I can't get this out of my head because somebody went up to Shaq and gave him a baseball to sign just because Jordan was playing baseball.
Like,
they wanted Shaq. He just crushes it.
He goes, are you trying to joke around with me? This better be a jawbreaker. I don't want to eat this. Why are you doing this to me? I don't play baseball. Throw it. I bet you throw like a girl, Shaq. He's like, I don't throw like a girl. Why are you giving me? That's nuts. They gave him a baseball to sign.
Just a sign, because Jordan was that big, and that's how much he meant to the league. Like if LeBron played baseball, nobody would give like Kevin Durant or Jokic
you're not walking up to Steph
a baseball.
being like, can you sign this?
Exactly, it
Like,
makes no sense.
fuck off.
But for whatever reason, that's and that's how much Jordan was like meant to the sport and whatever he was doing.
And you couldn't go to school and talk to it about. You met Jordan.
Yeah, couldn't share it.
We're 11 years old.
Yeah, it's wild. I had this amazing thing that happened.
11 or 12, and you're like,
out of fear of this would never, I would never get this opportunity again with my dad to go to the games and do that because he wasn't buying tickets. He couldn't afford to buy. He just knew how to scam.
Fuck.
But the other thing I was going to share was we interviewed the editor over at Sports Illustrated, and we had to cut this, unfortunately. But he said that the Sports Illustrated ran an article when Jordan was playing baseball. The headline read basically, I think it was like Michael, saying that when he was playing baseball, that he was a straight up miss.
Yeah.
That he I'm trying to remember what the headline was. I got to look that up.
Yeah.
But there was a headline that basically said that Michael Jordan was a bust playing baseball, and Jordan took so offense to that he said that he would never interview with Sports Illustrated again. And I met him the year after going at Sports Illustrated and then got that interview technically. And I'm the last person, that interviewed him for Sports Illustrated for kids.
So he never did the rest of his
Sports
career?
Illustrated. Yeah, never did it again after that article came out.
You were the last, fake Sports Illustrated writer to get an interview with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I was the last,
Because you were a kid.
And I was a kid. So he said that he would never do it again, but when I guess he knew that it was a kid, he said that it would be okay, and that was it. So I'm technically the last person ever.
That is fucking wild.
I wanted to keep that in, but we couldn't because of time for the podcast. But yeah. Oh yeah, this was it. So yeah, after Sports Illustrated published its Bag It Michael cover story about his lackluster baseball career in 1994, Michael Jordan cut off all communication with the magazine, even to this day.
Except young Gary Vider. Posing as a dude. That is fucking wild.
Yeah.
I'm mad. Do you keep that fact in the podcast?
That we couldn't. It was in there. It was just so what the podcast is, it's like on top of what, the sports and these amazing sports memories that we had, is that there's kind of, it destroyed my family. All my dad's lying, and I don't really know who he is.
Sure. He conned his family.
Yeah, exactly. So here he is. He's telling these lies that are constant, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of who my father actually is. And on top of everything, he and I haven't spoken in 24 years.
Damn.
So that's where the podcast is, that we shared this incredible sports, stories and everything, and that are once in a lifetime opportunity with my dad. But one, I haven't been able to really share it with anybody until now. And then, my dad and I, we haven't talked, and, I want to see what he's up to and track him down.
Woody Harrelson plays you. I think that's why he cast as your dad.
I would love it.
When you're doing the story for the flashbacks, even for now.
Yeah.
As I think we get Elijah Wood to play you. That's cool. we get Elijah. We get someone. I'm just over here casting you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like a movie. It's so like a movie that you had this moment.
And everybody was
honestly,
influenced.
I'm just going to tell you from the human standpoint, as someone with a deadbeat dad, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous that I had to hang out at a bowling alley, and you got to meet Jordan.
You're watching the game.
There is a moment where I was probably watching a game.
Yeah.
I mean, you met John Elway.
John Elway. You asked, I think just basically how I, was I ever nervous, or kind of how I would go about this. The John Elway one was at the celebrity golf tournament, and we cleaned up there. It was John Elway, Joe Namath, Mario Lemieux was there.
Oh my, no, 66 and
Yeah.
probably post cancer.
Yeah, post
So
cancer.
he's back.
Yeah,
just
he was
dealing on
back.
the ice with a young Yarmer Yager.
Yeah, so my dad made it a point to, when I knew that there was an event, my dad would figure out how to get us there.
Was there ever one that you wanted to go to that didn't happen? Hi, person on the internet. It's Dan Soder, stand-up comedian and guy that wants you to come see me do stand-up comedy on the road. I feel like if I point, it does a lot more. It's a lot more efficient, but also maybe not. I'm on Burt Kreischer's Fully Loaded tour, 3 weeks in June, touring the country with some of the best comics working. It's just a giant party. Check out all the dates at dansoder.com. If you're in the area, buy a ticket. And then Indianapolis, July 18th through the 20th, I will be at Helium Comedy Club in Indy for 5 shows. Buy tickets right now. July 25th through July 27th, I'm going to be at the Addison Improv outside of Dallas. dansoder.com for all my live dates. Go check it out. And if you haven't watched my special On the Road, check it out. We're almost there at 2 million. It'd be pretty sick to get over the 2 million mark. Tushy. I love doing this. Dude, this is a read where I'm like excited to talk about Tushy bidets. You have no idea. Wet that tush. Next time you sit down on the toilet and squeeze one out, Tushy wants you to know that you're spending your time scrolling on your phone. It's not giving you peace of mind. It's giving you hemorrhoids. Men spend twice as long in the bathroom, and one of the leading causes of hemorrhoids is prolonged sitting on the toilet. Wiping with toilet paper only irritates your butthole more. The Tushy bidet cleans your butt with a targeted stream of fresh water, eliminating the need for painful wiping. I'm telling you right now, if you get a bidet, it changes the way that you poop everywhere else. It's like you learned how to fly and you have to go back to walking. You're like, I don't like this at all. Tushy bidet cleans your bum twice as better and gentler than wiping with toilet paper alone. For the rest of your life, you can leave the bathroom sooner, feeling confident that your tush is clean without tearing yourself a new butthole. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty. Stop wiping until you bleed. Join the 3 million butts who have already made the switch to Tushy. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off your entire order when you use the code SODER at checkout. That's 10% off your order at HELLOTUSHY.com with promo code SODER. Go get that butt all nice and clean without ripping it apart. Tushy.com. Factor Meals. Factor Meals, dude. They sent me a box of these Factor Meals and I put them in the refrigerator. Honestly, a lot of times when you get products for doing reads, you're like, what am I going to do with this? And then I started eating the Factor Meals. They're great. It's so easy. Warmer, sunny days are calling. Fuel them up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. You can meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. I do the Calorie Smart, and I love it because then I know I'm like a little pig, so I know whatever I eat in my trough is what I'm supposed to eat, and the fact that they've got these chefs that are like, we're going to curtail this so you're not eating too many calories. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so no matter how busy you are, you always have time to eat nutritious, great-tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? Crush your wellness goals this May with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients you can trust. You can make it from breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options, and treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. And you can also enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced. Head to factormeals.com/Soder50 and use code Soder50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code Soder50 at factormeals.com/Soder50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. What have I got? Was there ever one that you wanted to go to that didn't happen?
Not really. I mean, like, I didn't get to meet Gretzky. My dad and I were having problems at the time. I went to it was on the Ranger.
That's like where you want to patch it up just to meet Gretzky.
Well, we were having our stuff. We went to a a Rangers. The Rangers were in the playoffs. This is when Gretzky was on the Rangers. We went to the Rangers playoffs games. This is like one of the last times we did it, and whatever reason, my dad and I were just like, we were arguing like the entire time, and we went as Sports Illustrated for Kids. Gretzky actually got a hat trick in this game. It was a playoff game against the Panthers, and me and my dad were just butting heads, and we were like, that was it, and we just like left before like going into the locker room. And I met Gordie Howe that day, which was great because it was like during intermission I would like go in the locker room too. But I didn't get him.
You were just in the locker room during your intermissions when they're like relaxing?
Yeah, I would figure out a way to just go in.
I mean, what's crazy is obviously it's shitty and destructive for your family. It obviously ruined your family. But there's this air of like a talent that's so extraordinary that your dad had this ability to manipulate and move through these places that no one else really could. By just talking. He didn't.
And these are smart people that he's being able to con. So these people hear bullshit all the time, I'm sure. And whatever the reason, my dad's bullshit's just better.
Now, obviously the podcast, and I know because we're friends and we've talked about this, and you do a lot of different cons throughout his life that you covered. I remember the payphone one with AT&T you told me about.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch that you told me about.
Yeah, he has a furniture business.
Was there one that you read or found out about that you're like, that's a fucking good idea?
You know what it is? So it's like a lot of them, it's not necessarily good. I mean, it's tough to say if they're like good ideas. It's just like he just has a way of like.
I know it destroys your family, and it's like hard to say. It'd be like saying if my dad had a hot girlfriend, you're like, well, yeah, he fucked off on our family. It was out getting drunk and banging sluts. But like, was there an idea that you were like, okay, Dad?
Here's the thing. I think when people think of cons, they think that it has to be like this elaborate scheme.
Sure.
Like the Sports Illustrated with my dad when he was conning AT&T, when he conned in his furniture business. I also found out he worked for Pan Am. Basically like a thing like Catch Me If You Can. Like he was doing things with flights. It was insane. These things that he was doing weren't like that elaborate where you're like, it was a heist in any way.
Do you think that's what made him work? Was the simplicity?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was just smart enough to keep it simple and just the balls to try it.
Exactly. And he was able to figure it out. And I brought like a couple like news articles that I had, and then one we'll do after, but I'll show you. But it's maybe I don't know if Pim could put this up.
Yeah, he will. You just got to text it to him.
Pimp, put it up. Just do that. That's
right now, like it's real. Like we're watching the video.
On the road with Nate when he's doing like background stuff, I'll just be like, cut right there and do that. I just tell him what to do.
Throw that up on the screen, and it will, because he's great at editing. But it's funny to think him doing it in real life. It just pops up under us in a bottom third.
You'll love this. This one's for you.
Yeah.
This is my dad. My dad took us to the Hulk Hogan trial.
God, the steroid trial.
It was on Long Island.
In the 90s. For those of you that aren't lifelong wrestling fans, Vince McMahon and the WWF at the time got in trouble for steroids.
Yeah.
It's why they changed it. Well, it was the World Wildlife Foundation had trademarked WWF everywhere except the United States. And when the trial started, this is just like wrestling knowledge.
Yeah.
The reason they switched to entertainment was that it's not considered a sport. So they can, if they wanted to do steroids, they could. Because it's performance.
Yeah.
It's not. But this was Hulk Hogan was on trial for if he had, and wrestler tells court he used steroids for 13 years. That was massive.
Right.
It was, and then now when I go back and I watch old wrestling stuff, you see immediately when Hogan was off roids.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how now people have Ozempic face?
Right. Yeah.
That's like what it looked like with Hogan when he got off roids. You're like, why does your face look different? And you're like, oh, you're not juiced up.
Yeah.
But this is an article where testifying in a courtroom, holy shit, Hogan's no heroes for them. And this is the
my dad brought me and my friend Eric there to sit in there in the trial.
Well, the lead is 10-year-old Gary Vider traveled to federal court yesterday to see wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan. He did not like what he saw, an athlete and role model admitting to a long stretch of steroid use. They were supposed to be our heroes, said Gary of Dix Hills. It turned out they weren't. It was all fake. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gary is one of dozens of fans in the Uniondale courthouse to see Hogan testify. So you watched him testify?
Yeah, I was there. I remember watching.
Did your dad get you in?
Yeah, he got us in, and I don't. There were. I guess you were. I don't know how we were able to just walk into this like courthouse.
Gary's friend Eric Santiago.
Yeah.
Shout out Eric. Hope you're all right. You're 40, going on 41. Also fled at the courthouse in Uniondale, adding that he and McMahon had. Oh, okay. Also 10. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Continued on A37. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we did that. And then
I mean, at 10 years old, I remember going to school and being like defending Hogan.
Yeah.
The way I would defend my dad to my mom. You know, my mom's like, your dad's a liar and a drunk. I'm like, no, he's not.
Right.
He's just fun and you're a bitch.
Yeah.
And then like, that's what it was like with Hogan, where you're like, he is that big.
Yeah.
And
well,
brother, he wasn't.
Yeah, I knew it was all fake, but you wanted to get in the newspaper, so I was like, let me
That's
just
so funny.
let me just come up.
I was stupid.
I was trained, you know.
Well, yeah, because you're like a little.
I knew exactly what I had to do to like get in the newspaper.
Well, if you think about it, you're kind of like a magician's assistant.
Yeah.
You know how the trick works, and you can't give up how the trick works. So at 10 years old, you're like an old soul smoking a cigarette, and you go, baby, that's not how this thing works. The garden's got 3 shifts. Here's how we get through the first round. It's like you're like a little guy. You're like a little
For
slickster.
sure. Well, I was, I didn't realize it until, I was doing things that weren't necessarily moral as I got older, but I was groomed to be a con man. I mean, that's what you don't want to be your parent, but I saw what my dad was doing, and I was told that this is how life works. This is what you're supposed to do to get ahead. And, we were just given this kind of like, short stick in life that we kind of have to now figure out a way. How do we get ahead? And you get it by being street smart.
How good at cheating in high school were you?
Oh my God, the best. Never got caught.
There were teachers that were like, I cannot bust Vider. And you're like, I was trained by my sensei. You might know my sensei, my father.
I was hands down, I swear, the best cheater. Nobody would suspect a thing. And I would also call people, like, I would doubt that they would ever, whatever, you could have a gun wrapper. This is like stupid, where it's like, you have a gum wrapper, and then I would have the answers on the gun wrapper of the gum that I just like took out of my mouth. But then they could also, maybe they don't see that, and they're like, what's that? It's a gun wrapper. I would know just from my dad. They're not even gonna come over here to look. I'm like, this is my gum, and here's my gum that's now in the wrapper. Go ahead, open that up with my gum in there.
Oh my God! Did you help your friends cheat in high school?
Yeah. Well, I was able to, dude. In high school and in college, I was able to steal exams. I would know when, because the teachers.
How would you do that?
Because they would have these cabinets in high school. I remember they would have these cabinets in my English class and in my math class, and I would just go in there after school and then take exams. Then one of the teachers was smarter. I remember he was a math teacher, Mr. Vanderbeek. I don't think he's around anymore.
James's dad. A lot of people don't know that. Dawson's Creek father.
Right. He left after Dawson. And then, so this guy would have 3 exams for the 3 classes that he was teaching. And the first exam, he would just like leave out and just start putting them around the desk. So I would go into that class, and while he was doing that, I would go into his cabinet in front of the entire class, and nobody busted me, and I would just take it right out of his drawer. And I knew which exam was ours, because ours was the 3rd class that day, so it would have a number 3 on it.
So I think what you learned,
I was stealth-like.
I think what you learned from your father, though, is what you're explaining is, if you act like you're supposed to be there, people aren't going to push back.
Totally.
Confidence, people don't want to look stupid. So they don't want to go, what are you doing? And then you are supposed to be there, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. So they just go like, yeah, it's like catch me if you can.
People don't want to look stupid. And the when I stole exams in college, it was very similar to that. The way I just described in high school was there's 2 lecture halls, and they would lay out the exams for the first lecture hall, and they wouldn't change these exams in college.
Idiots.
So I would go into that first lecture hall, and they would leave them out for everybody in alphabetical order, and I would just take one random person's test, and I'd just walk right out, and then I would have about 2 hours to give it to somebody and have them come up with the answers, because it was like an economics class. Accounting class, actually.
I mean, dude, how are you not a CEO right now?
I know.
You're
Why am I not doing better?
Terrific joke writer.
Yeah.
You're just an incredible comedian, and you're like, dude, right now you could be sitting on a yacht.
I had to figure out
you're gonna leave today. I'm gonna go, My wallet's gone. That son of a bitch. I'm going,
like, Pip's missing.
Oh my God. Where's Myrtle? Myrtle? There's just a cone there. He got my fucking dog. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible because, listen, is it horrible? Did it destroy your family? Is it immoral? Is it immoral? Is it all these things? Yeah, but like also,
there's a cool aspect.
You got a skill set that,
for sure.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, people that are watching this that have deadbeat dads, we don't all get that. A lot of times you just get anger and years of therapy of wondering why they didn't give a shit. And sure, you have that, but you also know, like, well, I picked this up from my dad. I saw him do it. Because when you see someone do it, you're like, oh shit, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, you realize it's possible. Nobody would ever think that doing those things and, going to the garden and sneaking in and is possible, but I mean, it is, and it probably is still possible today.
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure now
harder.
with like scanning QR codes and shit, and like they have like a lot more technology. But I think there is now. Almost just going. You can walk right in. You guys can't see him on camera. He's like, yeah, you can still easy. But there really is a thing about confidence.
Yeah. Listen, there's a way. People look at conning and going back to the simplicity of what my dad did. It's like you don't need to photocopy a ticket that has a QR code like this. Like, yeah, you could know technology and you could figure that out. And I'm sure there are people obviously who could do that. But how my dad would go about it would be a way of like, he's not going to come through the vent. He's
not Mission Impossible.
What he's going to do is he's going to walk through the front door with a way of getting in that you're not even going to know it's anything, and it's not going to cost him a dime, and he's going to get free food at the concession stand, and he's going to be on the bench coaching the Knicks.
Hey, who's our new assistant coach? Yeah. I've never seen this guy before. It's also funny to think about you in 4 hours of makeup where you go like Mission Impossible. He's like, Gary, I'm sorry, we got to get these prosthetics on you, or else you're not going to look.
I wish this was a fake nose.
Yeah, you go. Oh my God, you're Puerto Rican? I didn't even know that. I've known you for so long.
The comedy career would be going better.
Yeah, you'd be fucking. You wouldn't be sitting on this couch.
Yeah.
You'd be at Netflix as a joke festival doing the fucking Hollywood Bowl. Yeah, man, that's something that like I always, because what's crazy is I've known you for a long time.
Yeah,
and we were friends before I even knew this, and then just randomly one day you brought it up, and I was like, hold up, what?
Right.
It's fucking nuts. But I'm so glad that you were able to do this podcast, and like, I'm genuinely excited to listen to it.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I mean, basically the idea for it came about, like my son was born in 2020 and the Jordan documentary came out at the same time.
Yeah, The Last Dance.
Yeah, and I'm like, this kind of like just the memories of like me and my dad going through like what we did and then having a kid. And I'm like, it's been, at that point, that was like 23 years. Like 23 years I'm curious, like what he's up to. Has he changed? Is he different? And, am I remembering what I think happened, exactly how it happened? And am I going to meet family members who are going to like say the same thing? Like,
confirm your reality.
Yeah. Was my dad this like amazing con man, how I remember him being? And, yeah, he was. He lives up to the hype, man.
And
it's
so
crazy.
this serial series, like I said, June 10th, the first 2 episodes come out, and then every week there's an episode. How many episodes total?
10.
There's 10 episodes.
10 to 30 minutes, and yeah, it just goes.
And
through
the whole point is you're trying to reunite with him to see or learn about him and see him again.
Yeah, see if he changed, and then.
And I do not know if you did or not. And what I love is you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Like even off walking in, you're like, I can't. I'm not going to blow that. And it makes me want to watch listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I want to know where this goes.
Yeah.
Because there is a thing.
Gotta listen like everybody else, man.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. No family discounts. But there really is this thing of like, a lot of us. I think our parents' generation, the boomers, and maybe even the Gen Xers, kind of did this like false. If it looks good on the outside, everyone will believe that. But everyone's got problems with their parents, and so when you find out about this shit, you kind of are like, you're learning about who your dad is as a man, which is interesting because parents, and I don't have kids so I can't speak on this, but it feels like parents hide behind the whole title of dad and mom.
For sure.
Like, I'm your dad. You can't know that about me. on the Racine episode, I found a letter my dad wrote to my grandma when he was fucking some lady and he was like pussy whipped on her.
Wow.
And you're like, oh, this is a 25-year-old that's getting some rebound pussy.
Yeah.
And he's like totally enamored with this girl and dated my mom 2 years later. My mom's like, I have no idea who that woman is. So you're like, well, it was clearly a fleeting thing. And I think that's really interesting when you start finding out more and more that your parents are humans and they have these different things, but sometimes they have these extraordinary, even if they're fucked up, stories.
Well, I wonder if that generation, they were good at hiding stuff. They were, and I think now, I mean, as a dad, where it's like you want to be as true to yourself and tell your kid like who you are and not hide behind this wall. And I think that's what, I mean, I would say that my mom and my dad both, did.
Did it bring you closer to your mom? Did it give you a better understanding of
I think it's like
of what she went through?
Yes and no. It's kind of like just everything that happened really fractured the family. Like my sister, both of them, I mean, we like kind of stopped talking and then it definitely hurt our relationship over time. Like we didn't stop talking like right away once I stopped talking to my dad, but over years it just showed me that like I could cut people off and like go and pursue comedy and not necessarily care about what's going on in other people's lives. Cause like, losing your dad and not him being a part of your life or not having that dad figure really hurts. And I realized that I could also lose other family members and whatever. It didn't matter to me. Do you think
the pain of losing him made it like numb to lose other family members?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's just basically like, well, I lost him, so I can go through it again.
Yeah, right? It's not the biggest deal in the world if I don't talk to somebody.
Yeah, because you're like, I've been here,
right?
Been there, done that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
Are sports different for you now? Are you like less into sports?
I'm not less into it. I love the Rangers. And I mean, I really like the Knicks, especially this year. Like,
I mean, this year for both of them.
Yeah,
Knicks
so
and Rangers.
It's been definitely been a fun season. But yeah, it's different. I mean, I'm also older, so it's like I'm rooting on people who are in their 30s. Yeah,
it's fucking wild.
So that makes it a little bit more difficult.
With your sons, do you share that with them? Are they like, do you watch Ranger games with them?
Just like the 3-year-old now, Sully. So he's like, the Rangers played the other day. So I was like watching that, and he was like into it for like a minute, and then he started watching Toy Story.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to beat Pixar.
I know. Exactly.
3 years old. It's weird if he's worried about line changes instead of Woody and Buzz are going to hang out again. It's going like, what's your brain?
Right.
Do you feel like I know you kind of said it, but do you think you did this for your boys so that they can not repeat the same mistakes? Or like...
Yeah, not necessarily, or just know a piece about me that I wouldn't know how else to tell them. This is a full story that they really get into, like knowing my childhood and knowing who I am and how I grew up. So I feel like it's a nice time capsule.
Yeah, dude. And it's also like, you want to talk about that generation kind of hiding stuff. It was always like... we're the generation 1 or 2 after your father died in war, or like your grandfather was shot down in World War II. Yeah. When really that might not have been the story. Right. When really he might have been a piece of shit that just ran off.
Totally.
And I think there's a lot of value in being like, hey, your grandfather did something fucked up. That's cool, but it's super fucked up.
Right.
And here's all the ugly details to it.
Yeah. And I wonder, I'm like, is it a almost like a genetic thing, a little bit of like how I have the ability to con, but from witnessing from my dad, but I also think it is somewhat genetic. So I think that like my son, I think Sully, the 3-year-old, the 1-year-old, barely speaks.
Yeah,
but
he's one.
He's already conning us. And he probably can't speak.
He goes, they think I can't talk. Nah. Sully walks in the room. He's like, hey, get me more cookies.
Yeah, but I think like Sully, even as a 3-year-old, you could like kind of see they're all like little like connivers.
Those are children.
Yeah,
children just want the things they want. They're going to try to get it however they can.
Right. So I think that they have that ability, and but it could be groomed. So anyway, I want to share these things that that I had in my childhood with them, and make them aware of it, but also know obviously that it's wrong. Sports Illustrated though is obviously a really cool thing.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, if you work at Sports Illustrated and you see this, please send Gary a work badge, like an old Sports Illustrated for Kids work. Make it official, and then put that Michael Jordan interview on the record.
Right.
Where you like can print it.
Yeah. Well, they actually, So in the beginning, when I first put out a thing on Instagram, and when I put this, like, just like the pictures and saying that we did this con, and Sports Illustrated reached out to like verify like what happened, and then I wrote an article for Sports.
I remember, yeah.
So I officially was able to fulfill my duties as a Sports Illustrated for Kids reporter, and I was able to put in, you know, in writing, all right, this is what took place, and that article is available online.
Yeah, SI.com, not written by AI.
Yeah, not
written by an actual human being. That's
GV.
Check out, GV wrote that, not some fucking other guy. Well, you brought a box of Reeboks. Everyone knows at the end of the episodes we go through a pack of cards, and I saved the last NBA pack for you.
Wow. Okay.
We're
Amazing.
switching to Topps Baseball 97.
Killer.
But I got the last 89 NBA pack. We'll do that later because we got about 10 minutes. But you brought a box of Reebok.
Yes.
A Reebok box filled with cards.
Yeah, so I haven't opened this box in probably, I want to say 25 years. I know what some cards are in there.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I hope. Yeah,
I got the box cutter,
but
don't let me in the cockpit.
Yeah, I'm hoping these are cards and not like just like mementos from like a murder that took
photos.
place. Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, your father took naked photos of you.
But
oh Jesus,
I was like even see like there's a name
heavy
on this. It says Herman Sporting Goods, which closed in 1996.
Damn.
That's how old this is.
Yeah, I'll try to make a careful incision so we don't ruin the box. You know. Again, if you have a box cutter, always remember to change your blades. It's very important. Very important for box cutting, especially if you're trying to
knife sharpening sponsor.
Yeah.
Also,
guys, don't forget to buy Stanley box cutters. Stanley, because a knife doesn't have to be just Jesus, dude.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I have a feeling we're going to get some bangers in here. This feels like a mix. My podcast has just become like Pawn Stars. You go, I thought you were doing a comedy podcast. You're like, yeah, dude, I don't know. I go through old dead people stuff. Tom Seaver. Dude, you got a Mets Tom Seaver card coming right off the top.
Oh, wow.
I'm saying that's an old school.
Yeah.
Might want to hold on to that one. Pretty good. Damn, dude.
It might be some autographs.
Dude, you got some old school. First off, Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith. That's a rookie.
An Ozzie Smith rookie. What was his nickname? You do the backflip. The Wizard.
Yeah, he did the backflip.
Ozzie, I mean, look at that. That's in the case.
This is actually Jordan 45 right there.
Look at that. Jordan number 45. He's back. I wonder it's against the Hornets. But look at that. You got the little case on it.
Yeah, that I don't remember.
Turn back the clock. Yastrzemski wins AL Triple Crown. His grandson is the right fielder for the San Francisco Giants right now.
Oh, that's right. I actually met him with
Joe
Nate.
List.
Yeah, I met him with Nate.
He's friends with Nate. I forgot Nate's friends with all these people now. Yeah, Yastrzemski. This is, you could probably give that to Nate to give to Yaz the next time you see him. Like he doesn't have a card of his grandfather. Oh, yeah, I didn't find that. 1950. These are like some of these old school ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, just grab a stack. Dude.
And more Tom Seaver.
These
These are a lot of Tom Seaver.
The Hank Aaron specials.
Look at that, Nolan Ryan.
That's pretty sick. Is that a Nolan Ryan
No,
Angels?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, look at that. Did your dad give you these cards?
I remember us getting a lot of these old ones.
Reggie
My
Jackson
dad,
on the A's,
we went to
Mr.
a garage sale. My dad somehow conned them into selling this to us, a box of a lot of these for like $20.
Dude, George Brett, I don't know if that's actually signed, but you know the story. Have you ever watched the YouTube video of him talking about shitting his pants?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite YouTube videos. Please cut to it.
I shit my pants last night. I did. Went out and had a great meal, just a great fucking meal. I had to go to the bathroom so bad in the car. I'm going, Trowel, hurry up, man. I got to shit. I had fucking shit in my pants. I went and take off my leather jacket, tied it around my waist, and I'm just standing there, and it's just running down my leg. I got jeans on, black bucks, no socks, and I just start fucking walking. Every time I'm walking, something's coming out. It's water. Straight fucking water.
Because he's walking through, he goes, I shit my pants last night. It's so funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, George Brett rules from that video alone. Dude, you got some fucking bangers. First off, there's some NBA cards in here. We're talking 93, 94 Fleet Ultra. And I mean, look at, you got Jordan, Hakeem, Ewing, Thunder Dan Marley, Larry Johnson, Jim Jackson, don't know, John Starks, Latrell Sprewell, Scottie Pippen, Walt Williams. I mean, dude, you got some.
Yeah, that's a killer one. Yeah.
And you haven't opened this since when?
This has got to be 25 years. Johnny Bench. I knew I had a lot of old baseball cards because from that garage sale.
And your dad just walked up. That poor idiot that had a garage sale that was like, oh, I'll just get rid of my cards and I'll make some money. And your dad's like, con time.
Totally.
Did he ever have a saying? Was he like, it's con mode? Going in con mode. Time to con air.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know DC like maybe that.
I mean, the Superman card, pretty cool. The DC comic cards, you know, you bust out some Marvel X-Men, I'm jizzing in my pants.
You got Pete Rose.
Look at that, dude. Oh, look at this. A signed Benoit Hogg from
Benoit
the
Hogg,
Islander.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is crazy because you have these cases used to come filled with cards where if you wanted to like keep them, these are still in mint condition. These are all signed hockey cards from the Islanders.
Oh, those are.
Aren't you? You're a Rangers guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you got a...
Oh, these are great.
Derek King, Mark Fitzpatrick, the goalie. These are all. You should give these to Patrick from the stand. He would come in his pants. Tell you what, you get some good spots too.
I'll take them. 3 Shaq rookie cards.
3 Shaq rookie cards? Yeah. Come on, dude. Look at this. He's like, and I told you I don't sign baseballs.
Oh, actually, I know what these are.
Look at these, dude.
Oh, wait.
By the way, this is going to be such a letdown when you open this 89 pack of hoops cards.
Shaq signed card.
A Shaq signed Magic card.
I'm trying to see if I...
Look at that, dude.
Oh, this smudged. It was a Scottie Pippen card, but...
I mean, this is nuts.
Larsa's
like, yeah, I can get you one. I've got them all over the house. Damn, dude. And these old school 70s ones are awesome.
Yeah.
Joe Morgan from the Reds. I don't know, again, if that signature is real or not.
I don't think they're real. Those are all on the card.
Jamal Mashburn from the Mavericks.
Yeah,
Come on.
I used to love him.
If you're over the age of 37 right now,
you're
probably coming in your pants with all these cards. All the young people, I'll have a TikToker on next week. I'll make it up for you. I don't know. I'm sorry. This is us being little boys again. Willie McCovey as the Padres, which is sacrilegious as a Giants fan. He's the McCovey Cove.
Ewing rookie.
A Ewing rookie card? Damn, dude, you're going to open the last pack and be like, what a way to jizz down our thigh on this last pack card.
You got some, Lemieux, Gretzky cards.
Dude, look at these. You got some wild ones.
This one's fine.
These Shaq rookie cards are insane. I bet now we have friends that are famous enough, either Nate or Shane, that could get those rookie cards signed.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get it framed. I mean, dude, some of these are pristine in a way. Pavel Bure, Sergei Fedorov. You're a big hockey guy, huh?
Oh, huge hockey guy.
Dude, look at this. Draft card Jaromir Jagr.
Oh, I didn't know I had that.
Come on.
Look,
dude.
these
Put some of these aside.
Look at
if I see any Boston Bruins ones, I'm taking them for Katie. Mario Lemieux. Dude, remember hologram cards? That was like, this was the future for us. When they dropped out hologram cards, we're like, what are we in, the space age?
No, I know.
And now we have supercomputers in our phone, supercomputers in our pockets, and we're like, hologram card.
I remember seeing those in a pack. I'm like, oh my God, this is a killer.
You would be like, you're jizzing your pants for it. Look at this.
That's
signed
legit.
Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
2 signed Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, made him sign 2.
With these are you have some, and you didn't know these were in here.
I didn't know the signed cards were in there.
First and foremost.
Just put a couple back there.
yeah. Oh, look, they fell. Shout out Sean Kemp, dude. The God. If Shane's watching this, he knows how important this is. Shout out Sean Kemp, dude. The dunk. OJ. Damn.
Oh, it's an OJ?
OJ Walter Payton. The juice and the sweetness. It took me a while. Sorry, that was resin brain. Both dead.
These are hockey. This is a cool one. I love Penny Hardaway. Signed card.
Come on. Look at these OJ. By the way, this is like...
I knew there was some OJ in there, but I didn't know how many.
You got to give these to the Goldman family because they're still getting money back from OJ. I'm going to need those. I'm going to need to sell those at it. I mean, are these worth... Here's the thing about cards. I can be tricked into thinking, Mark Messier, Timu Solani. Come on. Got a Martin Brodeur, all these hockey cards. Yeah, Cam Neely. That's going to either Katie or Kevin. That's Cam Neely. I'm holding on to these. This is my family is they're They're all Bruins fans. So, dude, this is nuts. The Nordiques, a Joe Sakic Nordique.
Oh wow, is that a rookie or no?
I don't think it's I think so.
The Lindros rookie.
He's a baby, dude. Look at that. Which then they became the Colorado Avalanche. My hockey knowledge is dog shit, but I'm learning.
Hockey.
Dude,
These are all hockey.
Mike Modano. These are nuts.
Yeah.
I mean the Shaq rookie cards.
Yeah, Shaq rookie cards are great.
You got some crazy ones. Pavel Bure again. Dude, Eric Lindros.
Yeah.
You have a Lindros.
That's a rookie, yeah. This is a rookie, yeah. That's a Lindros rookie.
Damn, dude. What was he, like 6'6"? How big was he? 6'5", 225. That's a big boy. Gotta save the OJ.
Yeah. What is it, 89?
The juice is loose. Damn, dude. You had some. These are great.
Nice.
I really feel like I'm gonna let you down with this 89 pack. Dude, the Shaq rookies.
I appreciate you
nuts.
saving it.
George Brett, the Tom Seaver. You know, I'm sure there's a Mets fan that would.
I didn't know the I thought some of the autographs were in there, but I didn't know.
Got to give this to List. Carlton Fisk,
Oh, that's a big one.
a Red Sox, and Yastrzemski Red Sox. Got to give
that's
that to
huge.
List. Joe List.
I don't say I'm giving it to him. I just say, yeah, that's great.
You go, yeah. You go, yeah, definitely. No, that's
Like,
really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You should have put me in one of his short movies. The Jordans are huge. You got to get those. And by the way, I'm sure there's like the way people know comics and stuff.
Yeah.
They're probably like, hold on to that one.
Yeah.
Hold on to that one. But these are crazy.
Yeah, I don't know the value of any of them, but it's like, but I figured I was like, oh, just hold on to it for the kids. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, they have more, you know, as time goes on, they have more value, and it's also obviously sentimental value.
Oh yeah, dude. These Shaq ones right here.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to hold on to those. That's a keeper. And then
I
George
love
Brett.
Shaq.
Can I have the George Brett for the bookcase?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them. Take
Yeah.
it. You got
I
it.
shit my pants. Yeah, dude, it's so funny. I watch that video at least once a year. It's just him going through warm-ups and he's talking to players and he's like, it's like he's a coach. And he's like, yeah, I had lobster last night. Came back, shit my pants. Give those the List.
Yeah.
Put those aside. Here's your Jordan cards. Those are awesome. And then I'm holding, and obviously Joe Sakic, but I'm holding on to these.
Yeah.
One goes to Kevin, one goes to Katie.
You got it.
Go Bees, dude. Go Bruins. The podcast called World's Best Dad.
Number one dad.
Number
But
one
if you
dad.
If you like that better, because
I like
there's still
number one.
time.
I like Number One Dad.
Number one dad.
Number One Dad, available June 10th, first 2 episodes. Then every week, there's 10 episodes total. At Gary Vider, you got this. When's the special coming out?
Special's coming out May 28th.
So the special, this might come after that. This might be after the special. Check out his special. Gary's one of the fucking greatest joke writers, one of the funniest dudes I've ever seen in my life. I've watched you. We used to go on the road all the time, and I'd watch you in rooms that we were working B rooms, like tough rooms. You would feature for me in fucking Murder in a way that
Thanks,
I'd be like,
buddy.
you would make it an A room because you were just so goddamn funny.
Thanks.
Some of my favorite jokes, dude. Gary Vider, the special is on YouTube. What's your socials again?
At Gary Vider, so
Yeah.
Instagram, all that stuff.
Instagram, Twitter. Check out the podcast. I appreciate you coming by, dude.
Thanks,
and
brother.
thanks for the Cam Neely
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
and the George Brett. Shit my pants.
Take a quick photo with you guys.
yeah.
Yeah,